there's a problem. It's like you're having to travel 1,000,000 miles to fret a string down here on the 12th fret. Why is that? We'll help you figure that out. All right, so you're done so far with the real heavy lifting of getting your Strat to not be flat. Go play your guitar, you do this awesome job, you finally got the nut set, you made sure the neck is nice and flat, you got the strings on, it's starting to sound good, but there's a problem. It's like you're having to travel 1,000,000 miles to fret a string down here on the 12th fret. Or say it just doesn't feel right, something feels off. The strings don't feel like they're aligned with the neck in any way, shape, or form. The next part we have to do is the fine tuning, the small little things that really affect the playability and how the guitar feels and how well it stays in tune. Well, your action's a little off. Could be your radius. I've already gone through and checked the neck radius. And the neck radius on a Fender Strat is typically 9.5. Let's go over that. Now that the strings are off, let's go ahead and check that fretboard radius. I'm just gonna jump to 9.5. I've got my feeler gauges right here. Come to the 12th fret. Now I just checked with 9.5 and it looked dead on, but I like to run all the way around sometimes and see what's going on. Yeah, this is 7 1/4, and you can see some light coming through on 7 1/4 right up the center. Now let's go one over, which is 10, and move it, and yep, there's light coming in off of the edges. So that lets me know it's not 10, it's not 7 1/4, it's 9 1/2. So we can go ahead and put the rest of these feeler gauges up. Next is setting the action. The action is the distance between the top of the 12th fret and the bottom of the string. You're gonna get yourself a nice little string action ruler, and you're gonna check the action on every string, and that's adjusted down here on the saddle. Now what I do for a starting point is I bring the saddles all the way up to where the saddle and the top of the saddle screw is even with each other. So the top of the saddle screw is flush with the top of the saddle, and then I go through and I adjust them all appropriately. The reason why I go so high is I like to bring it down. It's easier to see the line, and I'm creeping down on. Let's take this over to the bench and get to work. So now that we've got all the strings on here onto the guitar, let's go ahead and check the action on all these and check the radius at the bridge and saddles. I'm detensioning the strings right now to go ahead and allow me to set these saddles up, because remember, I like to creep down instead of creep up. Alright, so now that we've got all these set in an up position, double check this guy is perfectly where we wanted him. This guy needs to come down. I like to do these in half-turn increments. We went and measured 2 millimeters from the bottom of each string to the top of the fret all the way across this fretboard. Then once I do that and I've established a good point, I'll take my radius tool down here to the saddle, place it under there, and rest it up against the strings and see which one is high and which one is low. And if I have any that are high or low back here at the saddle, I'll make adjustments appropriately. And then go back up here and check once again and verify that I wasn't completely off on my assessment. Let's take this over to the bench and get to work. Remember, we've got our 9 1/2 radius right here. We're gonna go ahead, slide it under the strings, bring it up, and check that the radius appropriately. Mathematically, they should be, because we went and measured 2 millimeters from the bottom of each string to the top of the fret all the way across this fretboard. So it should have a nice arc to it. So let's go ahead and check that by sliding our tool under the strings, lifting, and seeing where we touch, where we don't touch. And that should tell us everything we need to know. Make adjustments where needed. Remember, the smallest adjustment goes a long way. And the more time you take in prepping, the better it'll play for a longer time. That is set beautifully. Let's go ahead and double check that. Measuring out the bottom of the strings, top of the fret. That feels so nice, and you can feel that on the top of the strings too, the direct correlation of all this. We can go ahead now and give it its final tune. All right, now all you got to do, since we're all set up, is noodle away and tune it back up as you get done. You got your action perfect right where you want it. One step left, guys. You got to noodle. You got to have fun and noodle on the guitar because the strings need to be stretched. So go through and do some crazy bends on the 12th fret and then noodle around. Do it crazy, do it wild. Get that stretch in there and then go back through and retune. The way I like to tune my guitar always is from the high E to the low E. The high E string doesn't put as much stress on the neck as the low E string. Tune the low E string first. You're gonna notice the other strings come out of tune a little bit. It settles in a little bit better when you go high E to low E. Thanks for swinging by. Me and Blake look forward to seeing you again. Say bye, Blake.